And these three gentlemen will share with you how they have created socio-economic impacting solutions leveraging open source AI technologies like Llama. So with that, I welcome you, Sarath.
Hi, everyone. At Boltzmann Labs, I think when Jan Lucan was discussing about the scientific R&D, FairChem, and then ESM models, like recently, all of you know that we got the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for AI researchers in AlphaFold 2. So at Boltzmann Labs, what we are trying to do is that we are building the technologies that will be helping in the end-to-end life sciences R&D. Starting from understanding the core biology of disease or plants, and then building the novel molecules. It might be proteins, small molecules, antibodies, enzymes as a catalyst. Like Boltzmann Labs is building the end-to-end life sciences R&D ecosystem enabled by AI. Currently, we have the platforms that are technology platforms enabled by AI. Going forward, we are building the automated labs. By end of the next 2 years, we'll be building the automated laboratories, which are self-driving laboratories where we can see the scientific discoveries automatically. That's where we are building our technology, and going forward, you'll be seeing a greater scientific R&D ecosystem in India. See, all of you know that the life sciences R&D ecosystem or scientific R&D ecosystem is very limited in India. Boltzmann Labs want to bring it up, enabled by AI, by building good technologies and automated labs. So currently, we are working with multiple companies on this, like Johns Hopkins, Buck Institute of Aging, and then Morpen, L'Oreal, different academic and research partners we are working, and we are working on multiple things, not only limiting to one particular area of materials, we are working on small molecules, proteins, enzymes, everything. See, in the next 1 year, we'll be establishing our first automated protein engineering lab to discover more proteins. This decade, we believe that we'll be seeing huge amount of outcome from the protein engineering. All of you might know recently, we have the Nobel Prize awarded for AlphaFold 2. Yes. Thank you.
Just before I start, I was just listening to Boltzmann Labs, and previously Professor Lekun talked about the contribution in the medical area. I just can relate, it's very much personal for me, I just thought of sharing that. So I have been a cancer survivor. I was a stage 4 composite lymphoma at the time of doing my PhD at IISc. So I remember those days, so it was around 2014, 2015. I remember those days, both me and my wife, we used to kind of study a lot on the recent clinical trials what are available and all. And sometimes it was frustrating also to see the kind of time which takes to get an access to the clinical trial and all, right? And those drugs were pretty generic, not a targeted drug. That has kind of developed a lot, of course, primarily on the AlphaFold, for which and Demis Hassabis and all got the Nobel, and the kind of Boltzmann Labs and other companies who are working amazingly for that. Thank you for that. I owe my life. And people would be it really kind of touches life. Now coming to NeuroPixel.AI labs, this is what we started just after my PhD, around 2021. Arvind and I, when we started, we envisioned to build a Canva for catalog, basically Canva for fashion. So that time it was like when we were a kind of generative AI company before there was a generative AI term. So it was a problem for us to convince people to convince that what we are building, like a synthetic human beings, etc., etc. Now also it is difficult for us to convince people like how we are differentiating. So that's the kind of change which has happened in the last 3 to 4 years. So what we do primarily, we do broadly 3-4 things, right? We generate synthetic human beings. We modify their attributes, we kind of create the background, we kind of immerse that generated person in that background, and thereby change the entire kind of experience of user as well as the cataloging process, make the cataloging process extremely fast and extremely cheap. For example, like particularly these images takes around 3 to 4 days to prepare. You can generate, our inference time is around 174 seconds, so you can generate it comfortably below 5 minutes. And in terms of cost, so it's normally cost around 50 to 60 USD per image, which I mean, in our platform we give it as $1, right? So that's the kind of cost, effort, efficiency that we could achieve. I mean, what we have right now is that these are the normally these things what we have. We call it model swaps. We can just change the models. We just shoot once, change it to your desired ethnicity with desired attributes, etc. That's model swap. So that you can kind of have a hyper-personalization. You can have background swap. You don't change the model, just change the background. You can do both. That's we call lift. And you can just, we have a product for the long tails who cannot afford to have a model and all, where we are working with very closely with NDC, which basically you just have a kind of mannequin image, and then if you can kind of generate synthetic human beings, synthetic models from that, right? Couple of other products which are working on, and hopefully we'll have it live in next month. One is called, we call it depth. So it's primarily from a flat lay to kind of model. So you just have a flat lay shot. From the flat lay shot, can I create a catalog image, which basically again impair the entire long tail of retailers, right? Another one is for the designers, like you just have a sketch of a design, and can you visualize that on the kind of on an actual model, right? We are also looking into one of small problem area is basically, can I create from an image, can I create a very short video clip, like 3 to 4 seconds, right? That we call Ripple. Coming to our entire tech stack, which has gone to significant changes. Initially, we started with GAN architecture, as I say, we started in 2021. So there are very interesting paper came out of Style GAN 3, etc. So we were very excited, and we started working on that. However, then the diffusion paper came, and with the diffusion paper, entire stack got changed in the diffusion because, of course, the amazing ability of the diffusion and all. So our current stack, we leverage, as Professor Likun said, we leverage a lot of open source. So we have a segmentation module, which is, of course, on the SAM2. The problem here, we also have a kind of one module which basically kind of extract the attributes from the image, kind of image captioning, and then fed it to the conditional generation module. So that we earlier using Blip, now we are using Llama 3.2, 11 billion one. And conditional generation is, the core conditional generation module is from Stability.AI, Stable Diffusion. Now, one problem which we have faced is in this particular space, it is okay to get a okay solution in kind of 1 month of effort, but it is extremely hard from the okay to get a great solution, which normally takes around 1 year. And so all the open source models and all would not solve it problem. You have to kind of contribute significantly on top of it, but it can accelerate the process a lot, which we also have experienced. For example, like our segmentation module right now, the IOU we have been able to achieve is 0.9952. And that has been actually, and then we also have kind of certain alpha matching methodologies and all, which is of course our proprietary stack. That helps us to kind of immerse the entire segmentations and all kind of to go, without kind of any visible error at least. Our entire generation, as I said, is primarily based on stable diffusion. However, we are also looking to flux, etc. a lot. Some of the problems which we are currently working with is to reduce the DNN stack so that inference becomes very fast. So that's what we are looking into kind of some of the methodologies, which are structural pruning, kind of knowledge distillation, primarily progressive knowledge distillation, and of course using NVIDIA TensorRT SDK, which is all are open source, right? Yeah, so these are some of the brands which we are currently working with. We are also in a very advanced discussion with a couple of large global e-commerce platforms. Yeah, that's all. It has been, thank you for inviting me.
I'm representing United We Care. I'm the founder and Chief Technology Officer. We are working on mental health and the things related to mental health. It is complex, statistical. There is no single blood test that can or any test that can save the condition of mental health. Second thing is we have a massive issue with demand-supply mismatch in mental health. In terms of GenAI application, what you can see here, we have launched it for Telangana government. And this is for the parents to kind of understand possible addiction in the teenagers. The problem with addiction is addiction in itself is secretive in nature. Like, when a teenager is going through addiction, the most of the information is not being shared. A. B. We cannot have the same person who is into addiction, we cannot take his or her input. So we are talking about observer input, and from the observer input, we have to understand that. Possible the parents, they don't have enough information. Second use case of this is, so then we have to have multiple observers, which is parents and teachers put together, and the collaborative way. So this is what we have done it on Llama. The thing that we are working with is digital health wallet. Patients screening, I mean, at least the screening part should be done with AI so that clinicians can perform on the top of their license, can treat the patients. Next one is clinical management. Certain set of patients, they will require a clinician, so the whole clinical management process can be done. Next one is follow-up and relapse management. In terms of our open source, yesterday we had put one of our medical ASR model data set into open source domain. And this is the same data set with which we have broken the world record of all the ASRs in medical domain. So our current word error rate of our ASR model is about 0.3, 0.4%, as opposed to most of the other ASR model with the record of 3 to 4% word error rate. So it's about 10x better. Next one is zero-day, zero-shot LLM benchmark. Most of the benchmarks in language models, they are hackable. They are not prone to sustain. We are working on that, putting it on open source. Next one is, we have also broken about 24 world record on natural language inference. So that whole model with the training, we are putting it on open source. The last one, extremely important, is the clinical translation. So the problem with mental health domain is most of the assessments, they are available in English. They are not available in any other language. The first question of GAD-7, which is used for, say, anxiety disorder measure, the first question is, I'm feeling anxious, nervous, on the edge. Now translate that to Hindi or any other language that you can think about. You will not get precise translation, and because of the translation error, possible we are diagnosing people with that error, and the whole treatment is happening basis that error of translation. So we are creating a translation method that is with clinical accuracy. So WHO had a long-standing guideline. It's a very old one. We have converted that into the modern AI with the Llama framework, and that we are putting it on open source. Touching straight away the SDG goals, which is health accessibility. AI is a great labeler. It does not detect problems of us human beings in terms of judging people and all of that sort. Our research focus is in needle in haystack retrieval, a lot of causation. Most of the current models, they don't have the temporal data. So we are working with the temporal data to understand the possible causality and the reasoning part of it. Automatic speech recognition, as I told, we have 27 plus world records, 12 patents, 18 research papers, and we have supported a lot of most of the major companies in India for their employees' mental well-being. They are our customers. But I want to specifically mention we were the part of the Indian Olympic Association to support Indian Olympics participants for their mental health journey. And that was my 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Come to the end of this conference, and I would like to thank all the members of the audience, thank the startups, thank the Meta team, great partners, thank Ian, Lekun, Manohar, and everybody out there who made this a successful confluence.